Hello. I am trying a little bit different setup to record the Stephen King review. The Stand, episode 2, Pocket Savior, I believe it's called. So here's my bookshelf, all my Stephen King books, so that is gives some credibility to my Stephen King review. So this episode, I have a lot of mixed feelings about. So this one's about Larry Underwood and his journey from New York City to the Boulder Free Zone. And I again, I think I have a lot of praise for casting. Larry's great. Nadine, I guess, she seems all right. Rita was good. The thing is, my mixed feelings on it, even though I actually enjoyed this episode more than I did the first one. Son of a bitch. So this episode, my mixed feelings on this episode are that I enjoyed this episode more than the first episode. However, I am more convinced after this episode that the series is going to be a complete mess. The jumping around chronologically doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It's just a confusing mess. I'm not necessarily convinced that anyone who is not familiar with the novel would have been able to follow that episode at all. So we have Larry. He's a musician. He ends up, so he's one of the survivors. So first, we follow him. He's at a show, and his whole band is out sick. And most of the audience is too. And so that's kind of where we kind of get the gist that the world is ending. This is his perspective on the plague coming through. Captain Tripp's killing everybody. And so we see all that stuff, and then everyone's getting sick. And then I guess we fast forward a couple days, and Larry's in a park, and then he runs into Rita, played by Heather Graham, who is this. She's actually this really rich, well-off woman, and we don't necessarily get what her motivations are, really. And then with the kind of flashing forward things, he's somehow with a different blonde later on in the story. And then it just kind of gets confusing. And if you're not necessarily watching it closely, you may not realize that these are two different characters, whether it's Rita Blackmore or Nadine Cross. And so I thought that left things to be confusing. And while I really enjoyed seeing the Rita character in there, 'cause I don't think she was in the miniseries, but basically Larry meets up with this person and who ends up deciding that I can't give up my rich lifestyle, and that world is gone, so I'm going to kill myself. And that is, and that's just the end of that story, and then meets Nadine later. So just kind of the chronologically jumping all over the place, it makes it a confusing mess, and I don't like it. It really just needed to play out how it did in the novel. And I'm not necessarily a purist on these things. I just think that the novel did it right, the miniseries did it right, and this series is making some really odd narrative choices that are just making this whole thing a mess. So again, we don't see anything of Mother Abigail. We just hear her voice off screen. Which is fine. At this point in the story, we wouldn't really see much of Mother Abigail, but we don't see her. We've only seen her in one dream so far, and we're 2 hours in out of 8. Really, I mean, there's 9 episodes, but the 9th episode is actually an extension of the novel. So there's only 8 episodes of the novel proper. So we're a quarter of the way through this thing, and I'm actually really concerned about the quality of the storytelling with this. So I'm enjoying it, but only so much as that I've read the novel a couple times, and so I'm able to keep things straight. I just know that if you go into this watching it without having read the novel or the miniseries or being intimately familiar with The Stand in some other way, you're going to be lost. So it was the creative choice they make, and I don't understand why they did. So that's my thoughts on episode 2. I actually enjoyed episode 2. But it also left me understanding that this series is probably not going to be good overall. Okay, those are my thoughts. Thank you for stopping by.